All right, guys, so I kind of realized looking at the other examples that they do look like a tiny bit different, and there's only one thing that's different, so I just wanted to make sure I went over that with you guys. So you do have some problems in your homework where the equation does not start off equal to 0. And in that case, all you guys need to do is just move all the terms over to the other side. So in this case, if I need this equation to be equal to 0, because remember, that's the first step. We should always make sure all the equations are equal to 0. You guys just need to make sure you're combining your terms correctly. So if I move the -3 over, the only way I can do that is if I add it. So add 3 to this side. Just make sure you're adding it to the right term on this side. So it should go with the -7 because it's a constant. It needs to go with the constant. And then -7 plus 3 will be -4. So making sure it's equal to 0, moving that term over, making sure they're in the right order, and then you can take out your GCF and start. So like on this one, the GCF is a 2. And then you can continue the factoring from there. I won't finish the rest of it out, but when you look at something like this one is definitely not equal to 0. So this one says 14n squared equals 16 plus 2n. So you need to always make sure that whenever you are dealing with your quadratics, that this x squared term, the x squared term, it needs to be positive. So it might seem like it's easier to move this term over to this side, but then you're gonna make it negative. And then you don't ever want the squared term, see how this is n squared? You don't want that to be a negative term. You need that term to always be positive. So for me, I'm gonna go ahead and move these two terms over to the other side. So if I have a positive 16, I'm gonna do -16, -16. And then if I had plus 2n to move it to the other side, you do -2n. So it would be equal to 0. Now your job is to look at these now 3 terms on this left side and decide, are any of them like terms? If they're not, then just make sure you write them in the right order. So when I look at these, I see an n squared, an n, and a constant. None of those are like terms. If they are like terms, then put them together. But if they're not, that means I can't put any of them together. So that just means I'm writing each term separately. So put it in the right order. So 14m squared would go first. Oh wait, sorry, that's an n, not m. N. And then the next high power, so it'd go n squared, and then just the n term, so -2n, and then the -16. So that would be what the problem should look like. And then you can say, okay, is there a GCF? And there is a GCF. It's a 2. And then you can continue the factoring from there. So don't get scared if the equations aren't equal to 0. That just means you need to move them over to the other side. So just move them over, combine like terms correctly, and then just make sure they're always written from high power down to low power.